My 11th Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. Hello and welcome. It is the third and final T20 International. Oh, the second, because one got rained out. So it's the second and final T20 International between India and South Africa. I'm Gaurav Kapur. With me, of course, as usual, Mr. Joy Bhattacharjya, Mr. Pommie Mbangwa. Hello, gentlemen. I shouldn't say as usual, because I'm just your weekend buddy. During the week, I was on Hindi with my other buddies, but I also made them feel like they were the only ones. So this is just something I do.
Kaise hai, bhaiya?
Oh, nice. Bam, mic drop. That's all we have time for. Goodbye.
Nice to see you, Gaurav.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Well, Virat Kohli has won the toss again. He's won that every time this series. Twice, but that is every time.
I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah.
But he has decided to bat first today. Well, it is in Bengaluru, which is a far nicer name than Bangalore. I'm only talking in sarcasm today.
I'm wondering.
That's my chosen language for the evening. And this lightning and thunder that you just saw in the studio is basically us giving you a hint that there may be some of that later today in the evening.
Beautifully played, Gaurav. Yeah. That was brilliantly played.
Thanks. The thing is that the lights also saw the sarcasm and said, you're not the only one, right, who can play games, we can as well. But obviously, talking about playing games, Virat Kohli playing mind games, because you thought that in Bangalore, with that kind of batting surface, you'd probably like to chase, especially with some sort of prospect of rain later.
No, exactly. And I think it's a very interesting thing what he said. He went on to say that it's not just about, it's about batting or bowling in conditions because you're not in control of the toss.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting, which means that he's actually saying that this game is not so important as it is about India learning to bat or bowl, not mattering whether they need to bat or bowl.
But he's right, but it isn't.
And that's
isn't that important, right?
So it's very clear how he's viewing the game. Whether how the rest of us are viewing the game is immaterial. It's very clear that's how he's looking at it.
Everything these days, every game that has not been an ICC game in the last 1 year, Pommie, has been a build-up to an ICC tournament, hasn't it? That's what I've heard at every toss. Everyone's preparing for some World Cup or the other.
Correct. Yeah, everyone's preparing for something. But I think in our choice of words, we've got to be very careful. I mean, important, I would say yes, it is important. I think it is also the only opportunity you're able to replicate any sort of pressure.
Yeah.
So because it is, I think that's what makes it important. So what Virat is trying to do with his side is to try and ensure that in their preparation, they are put under as much pressure as is possible.
Yeah.
And this, where you win the toss and at a place like Bengaluru, I'm with you, right? I'm with you today. At a place like Bengaluru, instead of deciding that you're going to do what you normally do there, do it the other way around. Let's see if the guys can put a score on the board, and if they can do that, then over to the bowlers who are then under pressure to try and defend a score on a pitch that's normally very good. Yes, the rain might come in, it might get shortened, that just heightens the battle, as it were, or the difficulty for his side.
So India goes unchanged as we had expected. So playing the same 11, which means there's a lot of batting. You've got a guy like Deepak Chahar, who's also lit up the IPL with some lusty blows. So I like to call them.
Sundar at 9, and Washington Sundar has opened the innings for India.
Yeah.
So Washington Sundar at 9 tells you it's a huge batting side. I mean, one of the things that RCB did very well in their pomp, 2015-16, they were having these huge seasons, is just put 200, 220 on the board and just finish it off.
Yeah.
And finish it off as a game, you just put such a total on the board. And Virat, Gale, De Villiers, they did that very successfully for these guys. So he might be looking at saying that, that's one way of playing a T20 game, just bat a side out of the tournament. And just don't allow them to recover, just put so much on the board. And he could be looking at that because, see, he knows this pitch very well. This pitch is ideal for somebody like Rohit. So Rohit, Shikhar, they'd all be salivating at the thought of batting here.
Well, so you can make your team as well. You can make your My 11 Circle team. How can you do that? Well, let's just quickly show you. Well, you know, but I'm just going to refresh your memory. On my11circle.com, you've already downloaded the app, I am sure. So just go there and pick your team. And if you can beat Dada, if you can beat Dada, you win 3 times more cash. And listen, Dada's a tough guy to beat, man. He is, he's one of the most tactical brains you'll ever find. But It has been done before, so if somebody else can do it, you can give it a fair shot as well. South Africa will want to give it more than a fair shot today. They've made one change in their 11. We've got Buren Hendricks, who's come into the team. So there you go, Pommie. You like that change?
Yeah, I thought they might have gone with this in game one, where generally teams will go, if you have a left armer, that's the guy you want. They probably have changed it also because they went with the pace and they had pace both ends and it disappeared just as fast on a good pitch in Mohali. Good pitch here as well. Altitude, shorter boundaries. It's going to fly if you're coming with just pace and not much movement. Buren Hendricks has been known to swing it sometimes, so if there's anything in the air, especially with all the rain around, it might well swing a little bit up at the front, but for a short period of time. But the variation is what Quinton de Kock wanted from the left arm, not just right arm and fast.
Okay, so while everybody else, the people are making their teams as well for My 11 Circle, so it's time for our My 11 Circle expert advice. My question to Joy and Pommie is that who is the all-rounder you should have in your team for sure?
I went, last time in game 2, I went with Hardik Pandya. He did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Didn't get a chance.
I was useless as advice for everybody. I'm going the other way this time. Normally, you know how it is. Call heads. The probability of getting heads the next time, in your head it increases, but it doesn't actually. It's still the same probability, right? But this time I'm changing, totally. I'm saying you got to pick a player. Just pick one player and go with the guy you think is going to make runs. I think today I'm looking at Rohit Sharma.
Oh.
Yeah, I go with
So you're saying that he'll basically score so many runs that he'll probably take it what an all-rounder would get on both sides.
Yeah, I think a bat. I'm going with a bat, and my logic is that it is at the Chinnaswamy.
He's batting first.
He's batting first. It's the best time to bat, and I'm going with him because he didn't get runs in the previous game, and he'll want to cash in this time. Absolutely climb in boundaries all over the place. That's what he's going to try and do. So that's the guy I'm going with.
Okay, enjoy you.
Look, I would have gone with Rohit, or if anyone wants slightly more extended advice, I'd say go with the Indian top 3. Reason being, one of these guys is going to get a big one. The odds are that one of these guys is going to get a big one. Secondly, with rains, your second innings batsmen may not get full overs.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So if you look at it,
And your bowlers will not get that many overs as well.
will not get any many overs. So you're probably better off going with Indian top order batsmen. I would also plump for Rohit because Rohit would just love this pitch. I mean, and he looked in excellent form. He got out, but he looked in the 2 sixes he hit. He looked in top form.
Also, talking about the Indian top 3, we must talk about Shikhar Dhawan. Because Shikhar Dhawan, there was this interesting bite. So let's just play that, or let's say what he had to say.
For me, it's normal that it happens. 4-5 innings can go here and there. And maybe for you guys, it's not normal. And so that is quite normal thing for me. And I just take it very normally. I know that my process is very, very strong. I am a key observer on whatever I'm doing. I'll make sure I do everything in a very detailing manner. And yep, sometimes some strategies doesn't go your way. Sometimes it goes. So it's part of the journey, and I always back myself. I know that what hard work I put in, and I know that things gonna go good for me.
That's why they call him Shikhar Befikar, right? No worries, man.
No, I love his attitude, and he said absolutely right thing. And I know he's personally not bothered about it. He knows he's in good nick. It's just going to come. It's a matter of time that he comes. He's doing everything right. But I love the fact that today you can't make out whether a cricket player is speaking or a software engineer in a conference. Process, strategy, detailing, hard work, all the words that are there. Thanks to all the coaches and the analysts in the IPL from all over the world, you have every one of them talking. The processes are correct and the detailing.
I'm surprised.
Can you imagine Kapil Dev talking about processes and details?
I'm surprised nobody said the term KPI for now.
Right?
It's like, the KPI that we've been talking about with upper management.
Don't worry, it'll come.
It'll come.
It's not too far.
I find it so dull from guys when you turn up and you try and speak to a guy, And that's what you get. Yeah, we're going to stick to our plans. Yeah, I stuck to my processes, and I'm just quite happy that I contributed to the team. What are you saying? Like, we're trying to find out what you did and how you did it.
But you know how that happened? You know why that happens? Because they have media managers out there. Most media managers, a lot of them come from PR backgrounds. The job of a PR background guy is to make controversial things sound so dull and boring that you don't pick up on anything. So the idea is, instead of saying something good, say something that's so bland that it can never be controversial. And that's why most of them give the worst bites in history.
Yeah, it's rarely anybody chooses to eat vanilla ice cream. Yeah, it's just you've got to have it if it's there, like it's been served.
I mean, you manage to get it out of them when you get them in a different situation and because the champions. And that's a different. Look at the same guys when they're in a press conference. They sound like, vanilla is the word
I think the difference also is that because they know that the people, that they're anyway defensive, because they know the people are sort of waiting for them to slip up and to go after them. So you really can't blame them for just being defensive.
Yeah, look, in a press conference, I suppose it's a little bit different. So like what we're watching then, and it's the pre-game conference, it's the day before, and they go and sit in front of all the media then. But what I'm talking about is when I say it's a bit boring.
Oh, on the ground,
is saying. When you're at the ground. So somebody's gone out there and they've smashed 70 or 45, and they come off and he tells you, yeah, I was just kind of, my process. No, please, I'll give me something, like give everybody something. And so you've got to be imaginative with the questioning to a point where you're kind of snookering the guy. So he has to, give an answer. He has to speak, rather than just blurt out these phrases.
I'm waiting for some player to come and just say, we were rubbish today. We were useless. We played really badly.
A lot of the Australians do that well, actually.
Yeah.
I think some of the Australians do that well. And I've seen Big Bash quite a bit of time, they say, we were rubbish today. I mean, they say it and we were not up to it today. They are franker, I think, also because they're more confident about English as a language. One of the problems with English languages also is that if you're not sure of your language now, then you're always scared of being misinterpreted and you lose these sort of trite statements.
I'll tell you why Shikhar was asked that question is because some of his numbers, now, of course, we remember his century against Australia in the World Cup. But this is Shikhar, right? This is Shikhar in his last few innings in ODIs and in T20s. And the thing is, he's got, of course, those 200s there. There's the 143, there's the 117. There's a 75, you see, a 66. Otherwise, but Shikhar does this, right? I mean, Shikhar's almost got this magnetic effect on the 30, right? He sort of stays around there. So, but when Shikhar starts going, when Shikhar's in form, he's delightful to watch. Right?
Yeah, so I think we have to understand the numbers.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to understand the numbers. And by that, I mean, in looking at just numbers, and you're looking at one batsman who's Shikhar Dhawan at the top of the order, when really he doesn't bat alone at the top of the order. I know he might not have got runs, but he bats with Rohit Sharma. So in the case of a one-day international, you've got to look at the opening partnership to see how they're doing. So on a day where he goes out there and he gets second ball and he gets 2, right? Absolutely nothing you can do. The ball's new. Yes, it's a failure, but cricket is a game where you'll fail more than you succeed. It's just how it is.
True.
If you succeed more than you fail, then you're the Don, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And there's only one Don, right? No, there's another who's trying to...
another little Don
another little guy
from the same country.
Who's... and I suppose you could go to Virat as well. But even Virat, if you look at Virat's numbers and you say... every other time Virat gets you a score, essentially that's kind of 50%, right? And 50%, as we look around, if you go to any business and the guy is saying he's delivering half the time, he's getting fired, that guy, right? So once every 4 times, according to those numbers that we just saw, it's not bad at all, particularly if we're talking about a guy who's opening the batting. Yeah. And when I say understand the numbers, let's not look at it in isolation and look at Shikhar Dhawan on his own. The numbers he'll be disappointed with are the ones where he's probably faced more than 25 balls and then got out. What you're talking about, the 30. Yeah. The 30 of like 25 balls, he's got himself a start and he's just about past that new ball. And in 2020s, we can go maybe 15 balls. If he's gone past the 15 ball mark and he feels that I've got myself in and then gets out. he'll be disappointed about that because opening batsmen have it hard right at the start. If they get through that phase, then they put their team in a good position because then they can go through and bat a long time. So once every 4 times, I don't think it's too bad. I think sometimes because of the nature of the game and the nature of the way India play, be aggressive, go at it, and Shikhar plays like that, you got to take the good with the bad. Sometimes he's going to try and be aggressive to give the side a good start, and he's not going to get away.
Yeah.
In times past, yes, perhaps he was a little more consistent or a little more prolific in that it might have been once every 3.5 times.
Yeah.
But let's not make it seem like it's a whole lot more he did before, because it isn't.
Good.
It's not a whole lot more. It's just a little bit more, which seems a whole lot more. Once every 4 times, it's okay. You want better because India wants to be the best side in the world and you want to have the best openers and so forth. Once every 3 times, then the guy's going great guns.
Can I just throw one more point up there? Because whenever, like you say so rightly, with opening partnerships, and you got to compare those, especially when he's played 25, 28 balls, 30 balls. Remember, if he's played 5 overs, that means the opening partnership's probably gone 10 or 12 overs. So you also have to see the effect it's had. And has Rohit got big runs over there? Because if you've got a 50-run, 60-run, 70-run partnership, then you've actually done your team a favor. So you're so right. You can't see those numbers purely in isolation and say, no, that's not
And a
working.
lot of time that's happened. That, Rohit's just teed off and Shikhar's just giving him strike. And you'll see, he might have got 28, 29, maybe a 100-run partnership. That's one. The second is Shikhar is, very interestingly, a very, very good tournament player.
Yeah.
He's not a great bilateral player as he is a tournament player. Something in tournaments. So if you look at ICC tournaments, Shikhar's
Asia
track
Cup,
record,
champions, this World Cup as well. It's sad that he got injured after that beautiful 100 because you said, oh man, if Rohit would have got 500s and Shikhar would have got another couple because he was in form. Oh, you never know, you never know.
Exactly. And that's my point, that he does bring himself a little up for the bigger occasion. Bilateral, he's never been that good as he has been in these trilateral, multilateral tournament, big tournaments. The bigger the tournament, Shikhar seems to just enjoy that a bit.
And hang on, that works, right? Because we're always preparing for a World Cup. Brings it back, eh? Brings it back. You need him.
Always brings it back.
Because you're always preparing for a World Cup. There's a lot of T20s to be played because that World Cup is, 15 months away right now. But yeah, it's good to be prepping. What I don't understand is you prep in a certain way and then things change.
I think
These are like your first row students in class, the ones you hated because they've come back after the holidays and they've already studied the chapters and all. And you're like, oh God, chapter 1. And no, ma'am, we have studied it. Chapter 3, please.
Yeah, I didn't like those guys, man.
None.
I didn't like him. You were definitely one of those guys.
Rubbish.
Actually, you were the guy who probably the teacher was outsourcing the first chapter to. It's like, have you read it? Because I haven't. But you come and write. Come. That's why I call him the professor. Well, when you're talking about accomplished people, knowledgeable people, who basically you can outsource pressure and hard work to, you got to talk about MS Dhoni. And MS Dhoni, MS Dhoni's not around. We don't know where he is, right? We don't know what's happening. And this is what happened. So you're talking about press conferences, right? So this is so interesting because Virat put this out and it suddenly became this thing. And now, we can't blame them for being cagey and defensive in press conferences because he puts out this innocuous tweet, right? He's sitting at home. He gets probably this picture from somebody saying, hey, do you remember this game? He's lying on the couch watching TV, puts it out. It's a special moment in the guy's life, and everybody pounces on him saying, Dhoni's retiring, Dhoni's retiring. That's why, just calm down, everybody. Just everybody calm down. If Dhoni is retiring, trust me, it's not Virat who's going to be putting it out. MS will be putting it out.
Exactly.
Right? He's going to be putting it out. And it's just going to come like a bolt out of the blue. In fact, when Virat was questioned so much about it, do we have what he said at the time afterwards? Let's just pull that up. He basically...
Look, experience is always going to matter, whether you like it or not. Numerous number of times people have, given up on sportsmen and they have proved people wrong. And he's done that many times in his career as well. So, one great thing about him is he thinks for Indian cricket. And whatever we think, he's on the same page. The alignment's there. The kind of... mindset he's had to groom youngsters and give people opportunities, he's still the same person. So, as you rightly mentioned in the first part of the question, when you decide to stop playing is absolutely an individual thing. And no one else should have any opinion on it. That's what I think. And as long as he's available and continues to play, he's always going to be very, very valuable.
You can tell that Virat's also tired of being asked that question, right? He's asked that question a lot. Now, the thing about MS Dhoni, and he mentioned, Virat rightfully mentioned players who've sort of come back and people write them off. Roger Federer, Tiger Woods. MS Dhoni, definitely one of the all-time greats of the game. And when you pull out white ball cricket, for sure. There's this thing about MS Dhoni, a few things about him. One, grooming youngsters, absolutely right. We've seen it. Pommie, you've seen it after IPL games. He's going to be talking to the youngsters from the other team as well. It doesn't matter whether you just played against him or you play with him. Free with his knowledge, free with his time that way. Anybody you've known or you've seen in so many years, both of you are watching cricket and playing cricket, who can control the game like he does. Just control the play.
White ball cricket, I sort of go back to chasers in times past, and the one guy that keeps coming to mind all the time is, and he didn't get many plaudits for it.
Bevan?
Yeah, Michael Bevan.
Yeah.
So having played against the guy and watched him operate and seen stuff on television with how he did things without too many boundaries. The game has changed now, of course, and it's now a case of, lots and lots of boundaries, which MS can do. I would compare the two, and the comparison needs to have context. So in a time where Bevan would have to find one boundary and over, he'd know exactly where it was, and he wasn't a big hitter. He'd be able to find the gap. He'd run twos instead of look for fours. So he'd hit the 1-4 and run 2-2s, that sort of thing. And he measured it out meticulously over and over again in a side that was star-studded, right? So each time he had to do something, he'd do it when it counted. And I think that's the special quality of guys who are able to do that. So with MS Dhoni, I think that's the thing. The numbers are absolutely incredible in white ball cricket. But I think what people tend to miss is when it's done, right? Yeah. And when it's done is why it's important to the team. So the guys who are sitting in the change room, they know when it happens. So if you ask and have a chat with Sachin, with Saurav, with VVS, with Rahul, with all these guys who have been legends in their own right, and they're to describe what happened with so-and-so, they'll remember from sitting in change rooms. Ask all the guys' teammates who've seen him do it. They'll tell you, because at crucial times, and in my head as I'm saying that, I'm thinking of World Cup final in 2011, that 91. It's out of this world to think that it's so crucial, it's so important, and it's a big chase. You don't just chase 290 in a final and get it, And this guy has been cool, calm, collected over and over and over and over again. That's why he's such a giant in Indian cricket, And when it comes to whether he's done or he's not done, the one thing that Virat said there that's particularly important, it's an individual thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to guess it.
Yeah.
The guy will tell you when he's done. You don't have to guess. You don't have to say anything. When he's done, he'll come and say, I'm done.
I have only one. I mostly agree with what Pommie is saying. I have only one thing, which is that we don't need to know it. He's absolutely right. The public doesn't need to know it. But I think at some point, I would have liked, and I'm sure it must have happened, Virat, selectors, Dhoni should have had a chat saying, you know what, these are my plans, maybe I come back for this, so that when they are looking at their long-term selection plans, they have some sort of an idea saying, okay, we'll blood Rishabh, maybe we'll need a second guy. Oh no, if they know Dhoni is there, their plans might change. So Dhoni doesn't need to tell us. Dhoni doesn't need to tell the world, doesn't need to tell anyone else. But the people who run Indian cricket and Virat Kohli should know about Dhoni's availability. And I hope that's happened. I'm sure that's happened because the way Virat's talking, some communication must have happened.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if the camp didn't know, because it's not as if you'd sort of just go AWOL, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. So the guy's not just going to disappear and say,
Correct.
right, I'm not here.
Exactly.
Hey, are you coming? Are you not? No, it's not going to happen like that.
Yeah.
But there's always this clamoring, isn't there? People are like, oh, what's Dhoni? Let's have some Dhoni stuff.
Yeah.
Is he retiring? Is he? Look, you don't have to guess.
Yeah,
Nobody has to guess. He
Trust
will
me, he'll tell you.
And it's not time yet. The guy still wants to play.
Yeah.
Play as long as you can play.
Yeah, play as long as you can play, play as long as you're fit, you're getting selected, you're valuing the India cap. There's one thing we'll tell you about MS Dhoni, and I don't think anyone will disagree with this. There's never been anyone like him. There probably never will anyone be like him because he's just one of those special Destiny's children. He really is. All right, we've got a question which you can only get right and be a winner if you're a Destiny's child. Are you? Over to you, Prof.
Easy one, yeah.
You can't say easy one after I built it up like that.
Okay, it's not that easy. If it's George Headley for the West Indies, Wilfred Rhodes for England, Mohammad Rafiq for Bangladesh and John Tricos for Zimbabwe, who is it for India? That's all.
Vijay Amritraj?
The only hint I can give is test matches. Obviously, with some of those guys, they won't.
Now, let's bring it back. We've got to bring back the question. That was a complicated question. Let's just see.
No, it's not complicated.
It's not?
He knows the answer.
I don't know.
I mean, he may not know the.
I don't know
he knows the
person.
context. Yeah,
I
he
know
knows the context. He doesn't know the person.
Okay, I know the context as well. I don't know the person. I know the context.
Okay, the person played for a lot of Ranji teams. That's all I can tell you.
All the best, everyone.
All the best. Hashtag Cricbuzz Live. Send in your tweets to that. A quick score prediction before we go so that you can get to sit on the My 11 Circle expert couch. Real quick, India batting first, 20 overs. Bengaluru, what's the score going to be? My guess is 182. I've put it in right up first.
188.
201.
201. Go big or go home.
He's just separated himself from the pack.
He has.
Yeah, it's clever.
You can
Clever.
jam up right near him somewhere. You can park your bus.
188. I'm happy.
188.
Yeah, I'm going to hit it right on the head.
182, 188, 201. All right, that's all we have time for on My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. We'll see you after the India batting effort, before the South African batting effort. I'm Gaurav Kapur. Big thank you to Joy and Pommie. We're out of here. Take care. Cricbuzz Combox, of course, at the 10th over as well. I was in Hindi last time, so I've forgotten about that. But we'll be here. All right, we'll see you then.